Hi, everybody. I need some quick feedback. Everyone watching, how does the audio sound? We ran into a few bugs or glitches, whatever you want to call them. After you finish your USA chant, can you let me know if you can hear the audio okay? Good, okay. Great. Great on YouTube. All right. Okay. Wow, good feedback. Hello, everybody. All right. Okay. 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 All right. Well, so I'm going to start as usual, start off just a little bit of chit chat and chatter as we get everyone coming on. I see a few of you are saying that a little bit of static, touch of crackle. Okay, so we'll do our best. And again, this is it's a process for us to get here. So first off, though, thank you everyone for your patience. I never like to waste anyone's time, and I really appreciate you just waiting around for us like this. I guess we're doing this together, aren't we? All right. So one of the questions I always love asking is, where's everyone from today? I see Kim from Finland. All right. Wow. It's always inspiring to see, and this is why I really believe that America is really, it's a global country from the perspective that we're all in this together fighting for freedom. Okay, I've got Tammy Smith from Texas. You're coming there soon. You never know. Tammy from Texas, Northeastern Tennessee, T Black with the dog and the hat. Tennessee, Firefox, Canada. Gosh, Nigeria. Obi Grimsey, Nigeria, fantastic. Buffalo, New York, no bones about it. Patrick from Arkansas, Michaela from Colorado, Michigan. Even though I'm in Ohio, I still appreciate the Michiganders. I try to keep those things off of here. Michelle, Central Illinois, great. Missouri, Miami, Florida, Oak Brook, Illinois, Florida, Texas. ZK, Vancouver, welcome from Canada. Yuanlu, California. Sorry. South Africa. Fantastic, South Africa. Terry Short. Always love what you have to say, Terry, about God. And if he's for us, who can be against us? Scotland. Wow, Iowa's music. Scotland. Fantastic. Italy. Andrea, Italy. Wow, thank you. San Diego, taking California back. Yes. I actually think there's a good chance that California went red, but I can't talk about that too much on here. Nicole, South Dakota, very good. Justin, Southwest Burbs of Illinois, Team CSE, Patriot from Pennsylvania, our neighbors over in Pennsylvania, Mississippi, Nebraska, Dean Todd, Elizabeth Rose, Minnesota. Yes, I know. Unfortunately, you're in the famous Omar district, but you're right. God doesn't make mistakes. Casey, Golden Meadow, Louisiana, Daniel in Seattle. Steph, Columbus, Ohio. I can't give too much away, but that's pretty close to where I'm at. So you're a very local neighbor. Kim in Indiana, Will in Alberta. Okay, thank you. Audio is fine. Great. Again, South Africa. Fantastic. Okay. So one other question to ask you. Obviously, this episode is about, I think, one of the most important things that in our nation and really in humanity, it's our children. But I want to know, of all of you watching, which of you have children of your own or are grandparents, which I guess would mean you have children of your own as well. But how many folks here are parents that have kids that are concerned about what's happening? I want to hear from you. Heather, God bless you. Oh, thank you. California. Like your monkey. Wow. Javier, I think I pronounced your name right. Javier, 5. Wow. A1 sauce, 19. 19, I mean, I know in the old days, I think my mom had our first kids when she was maybe 18 or so. So, I mean, I think more and more young children should have, or young adults should be having kids. 3 kids homeschooling, Renee Hatfield, Sherry Hoff, 2 daughters, Daniel, 4 children, 7 grandchildren. Gosh, good for you. Linda, grandbabies. Kim, 11 children, 5 still at home. Thank you. My daughter is 6 months old, and we're already having discussions with her. Like, June, you got to repopulate the earth with good people. Like, we want about 10 kids by 35. That's joking. Lots of grandmothers. Joe Wallace, 6 young men, very concerned. James Bond, 11 grandchildren. I would have thought James Bond had more children, but 11 grandchildren. Justin Smiley, 27 years old, engaged, intentions of having a large family. Good for you. Homeschooling. This is what we need. Great. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'll go and first introduce the episode and then bring our guest on. So what we're seeing in our country, more and more children are coming home, or realistically these days are logging off their Zoom calls, confused, depressed. The childhood rates of suicide and depression are at all-time highs. But simultaneously, there's a survey that was done last year, which shows us, and this is, hard for me to even understand this, 1/3 of Gen Z, and Gen Z is roughly 16 to 23, right? Roughly 1/3 of Gen Z are in support of Marxism, right? I never thought I would have heard that. 1/3 of Gen Z in support of Marxism, and half, just around 49% of Gen Z are in support of socialism, which is, it's just incredible to me to think about this. But ask yourself, is this by an accident? Is it just a sign of the times? Or is this part of a sinister plan to corrupt our country and destroy America through the innocent hearts and minds of our children? If you look back, it was Joseph's, not Joseph, it was Vladimir Lenin. This is a quote that I heard years back. All right. And it really, really hit me. Vladimir Lenin said, "Give me 4 years to teach the children, and the seed I have sown will never be uprooted." It's frightening. So today's guest is an incredible woman, Dr. Elana Fishbein, who, Elana, welcome. I'll give a quick background of her story, and then I'll let her explain. But she has, and Kate's telling me, Elana, you need to unmute so we can hear you. Still,
yes,
there
here
you
we
go.
are. Yeah.
Great. And can you shift a little bit over to your right?
This way.
Yes.
Got it. Yes.
Thank you. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you.
I was going to tell a little bit of your story, but I think that you're going to tell it much better than me. So again, I'll introduce you, though, again, to this is Dr. Elana Fishbein, who has founded an organization called No Left Turn in Education, and she is doing some very important things for our country. So, Elana, why don't you tell us how you got started with this?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us in this important, very important conversation. I'll try to stay.
And can everybody hear, Elana? Just want to make sure.
I'm sorry?
I'm just making sure that all the audience can hear you okay.
I hope so.
Yeah, it looks like they can. I know I can hear you perfectly.
Thank you very much. Yes, well, what you described is indeed the scary thing that is now in front of our eyes, and is not far away at all. It's in our homes, already entered our homes and threatening our families, our communities, as well as our nation. I woke up to the end of the school year, last school year, when the principal of my kids' school, they go to a public school in the suburb of Philadelphia. There were second grade and fourth grade. And 2 days before the end of the school year, the principal just sent a message to the parents, notifying them that the curriculum for the next day, which was a Zoom call, of course, would be changed. And because of the events happening in the country following the death of George Floyd, it's going to be devoted to what you now hear more and more, the anti-racism, the diversity, equity, inclusion, all those words that basically we know now because we see the material mean the opposite.
And how'd that make you feel as a parent when you learned that?
First of all, I wanted to see what it is. So I looked
Mm.
at the plan. We looked at the lesson plan. We looked at what their objective was of the lesson plan, as well as the specific material and the books that were supposed to be used in those lesson plans. We opened them and we were definitely horrified at the material because it was pure racism. There was nothing about anti-racism there or about inclusion. There was nothing that resembled any of the philosophy that we lived by, which is the Martin Luther King philosophy of
And what are
treating
some of the
women.
details? What are some of the things that parents that I think distrust the schools, that like what are things that you saw that specifically?
Basically, in those books, the theme of the books was relating to people based on the color of the skin.
Mm.
And the message also was that because of the color of your skin, you inherit a certain characteristic. It's not your heart, it's not your mind, it's not anything that the way that you have been brought up in terms of values and principle of life. Everything has to do with the mostly immutable characteristic. So in fact, your color of your skin, your religion, your sexual identity, or gender identity, more correct to say, the income of your family, all those are actually determining who you are as a human being, who you are as a person. Your fingerprint is not your personality. What make up your personality? It's not your heart, it's not your mind, it's not the education that you received, the value that you grew up on. It's just that the color of your skin. And your faith is basically determined by that. So if you are white, you're an oppressor, and you are privileged automatically. So you get all those rights and privileges, advances in life, just because of the color of your skin, not because of your hard work, not because God gave us whatever brain we have and everybody use it or doesn't use it. Because, we all have our brains. Some have more capabilities than others, but some put also hard work. So it's not your hard work, not your brain, not your support, nothing. Everything is determined. All the things that you achieve in your life or didn't is determined by the color of your skin.
So what do you feel as a parent? And back to the question, what do you feel when you saw your kids coming home with this?
Well, this was an ongoing process, but this was already an extreme ongoing process in the school to take over the role of the parents. To take over in the sense that they are going to instill the value of the system on my kids. And this has been going now for several years, that I would confront teachers, I would confront principals, counselor, and I will explain to them there are certain areas that would not be the privy of the schools, but rather the family. The families will instill their values to the kids based on their religion, which is very important because there are kids from different religions. Based on their religions, based on their worldview, based on their belief. It's not the role of the school to come and indoctrinate our kids with a certain worldview, in a certain beliefs. And they will usually, they nod their heads and kind of not really accepting or not accepting what I'm saying, but I would opt my kid out of the classes. They did not fight me at that time. They did not fight me on forcing my kids to attend those classes. And they knew that there are certain classes I would not let my kids, or activities my kids participate. The story today is very different in that regard, because schools now do not allow opt-out of many of those indoctrination classes.
So it's like mandatory brainwashing, basically.
Absolutely. It is not only mandatory brainwashing, it's on our taxpayers' money. So,
yes.
I do agree with you, school choice. Homeschooling is a fabulous option. However, not everybody can do it.
Yeah.
And while, it's good for the people who want to do it and do it, at the same time, not only that this is our tax money that is paying for that, but the homeschooling still is a very small segment, because really most people cannot do that. But if the whole country around you is indoctrinated So the whole country you're gonna be an island, you're gonna be a ghetto.
Yeah.
You cannot live like that. So your kids, what kind of life your kids and your family will have if you're surrounded by people who have been indoctrinated? We saw the result of it this summer. All the
Mm.
violence, all the destruction, all the killing. And this is only when the indoctrination was happening almost entirely in colleges. And we know that not
Mm.
everybody goes to college. And still, it was horrendous. It
Yeah.
was threatening. It was really life threatening. So we cannot say, okay, we'll homeschool and we are solving the problem.
Yeah.
It's good to
That's
have choices. That's why in our movement, we are promoting school choice as one of our goals. The
mm.
parents have to be in charge of the education of the kids. The parents have to make the choice of where is best to educate their kids, and not
Mm.
to be forced using our tax money to have our kids indoctrinated in those school systems.
So tell us more about your movement specifically and what it does.
So, well, when you can look at it from a different perspective, but considering my background, I have a bachelor, master, a doctorate in social work.
Mm.
My
Wow.
specialty is child welfare. I did clinical work as well as I did management and research. The first message for me was when I even read the material that they are using in the curriculum is what is it going to do to our kids?
Mm.
What is this kind of indoctrination messages are going to do to our kids, and in turn also to our families, and then obviously to community and the nation? On a very personal level, what message are we sending to all the kids of all colors? What is the message we're sending to kids that are not white, that they are
Mm.
victims,
Yeah.
they are inferior, that they are actually don't hold any responsibility to anything that went wrong in their life, and therefore, the blame is on the white kids, on the white people,
Yeah.
on the people who basically stole their land, stole their opportunities in life, and they did not get it on merit. There is no meritology in this philosophy. There's no meritology.
Mm.
Everything is predetermined. So for me, looking at that, I'm saying, okay, my kids, the color of skin is, they were born with it. And we are trying to teach them right from wrong. We're trying to instill the moral values in our kids.
Mm.
Now, they are taught that they are oppressors, and they are told that they are privileged. Uh, what did they do to be oppressors?
Mm. Yeah.
They're teaching that for kids as young as even before they are even kindergarten. So tell a
Wow.
kid that's so young that we are teaching them what it means right and wrong, and we tell them, give them example. And when they do something that we perceive as parents that is wrong, so here is the example. This is wrong. This is right. This is moral. This is immoral. Now they were born like that. So what's wrong? What was wrong?
Mm. And
So
now,
obviously,
what
maybe they
effect
will
does this
blame the
have?
parents because the parents give birth to them, and the
Yeah.
parents have this color of their skin. So
What effect does this have on
send a
children?
message to kids. Yeah.
Like, what effect does it have on their development, which is something that you, I think, obviously know a lot about, understanding children through the social work that you've done and all your education. But for a young child to hear these things, how does that affect their mind and their overall psychological state in the course of their lives?
Well, you have also to remember who is promoting these ideas in their
Mm.
minds. Who is promoting is the teacher. The teacher is an authoritative figure. The teacher is the one that the kids want to be liked by, or
Mm.
want to prove themselves, or to get a good grade, because by the way, it's going to affect their college prospects. I don't know who wants to go to those colleges today, anyways. But this is something that is, and the younger the kids is even more, they're more impressionable.
Yeah.
The more want to be on the good side of the teacher. They want to be liked, as well as not forget the peer pressure.
Mm.
So when kids are standing in a class, and many of those exercising involve kids actually standing up and almost like, if you think about it, stripping themselves, because they have to declare their identity. They have to say, in one exercise of one kid, a parent's telling me, even in a Zoom call, he was hearing his kids screaming, Peach, Peach, Peach. And he ran to the kids' room And he said to him, why are you screaming peach? So the kid is showing, and this is a third grade and 8 years old. And the kid is showing the father the screen. And on the screen, there was like a circle with different shades of skin colors. And he said, the teacher asked us to announce the color of our skins.
Gosh, this kind of reminds me of, you look at the Cultural Revolution in China, when they had the shaming. They'd bring the elders up on stage and they'd make them wear the dunce hats and the signs. And this feels like that. And on your website, you also mentioned that you see this as part of a totalitarian agenda, this brainwashing. So can you elaborate on that? Because I think a lot of people, they see these things happening in isolated instances, they see us happening, but they don't know how to make the big picture of, why is this happening? Who's behind this?
Absolutely. So let's say that. So when they are pushing that critical race theory that's coming from different direction and asking, for example, the kids, as I described even now, to deconstruct their identity, to break it down to, as I said before, their sexuality, their gender, the religion, the income of the family, their obviously the color of the skin, ethnicity, etc., and income level as well. They're basically telling the kids, depending on their category, if you are within this category, with this color skin, with this religious, you have certain, characteristic. If you're the other, if you're non-white, so your characteristic are, as I said before, oppressed or a victim. And again, I just want to say a little bit more on the effect of the children. How do children that are not white feel about themselves? That actually they don't measure up. That actually there's no hope in their life.
So it has an inverse effect.
Because I'll tell you why. Your color of your skin is not going to change for the rest of your life. And in fact, within that theory, there is no really a possibility of redeeming yourself, because you're always going to have the same, at least as far as your color of your skin. Religious, I don't know, maybe sometimes people do change, or income level can change, but the critical issue is the color of your skin. So you are doomed in life, regardless of what you are. So this creates a lot of tension, and that's what we started seeing. In fact, in the training of the teachers, they tell the teacher to be prepared that kids will experience sadness, kids will experience helplessness, and even trauma. And by the way, they're not having a system to deal with that. So, and that's what we have been hearing from the tens of thousands of people who are reaching to us, that indeed their kids have been bullied, kids have been traumatized, kids have been shunned. There are a lot of those, and they're going through a very traumatic experience. What kind of relationship you expect those people to have in society? So that's leading to your question. There's a total breakdown. Kids are coming to the family after hearing from the teacher that what happened in class stays in class. They are discouraging kids not to share with their parents what's happening in class. So already you're starting to tear down the family. Then this is going back to tearing down the community and society. The tension that it creates is betting one group against the other. Now, that's the kind of the destruction of society, and those Marxist forces and those communist forces, Marxist forces, radical forces coming and taking over. There is no doubt that that's where it stems from.
It's interesting because I want to show a quick video clip of, it's only about a minute or so, a guy named Yuri Bezmenov, who was a KGB defector. He's an expert in propaganda. And this was done in 1984. And he was talking exactly about how America was being subverted. Let's just show this quick clip.
When the Soviets used the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process.
Yeah, and that was 1984. That was already, even then he said we are already so far underway. So perhaps you've seen it before. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's what's scary. The whole tape, the interview with him a while ago. You see, we just woke up now, but
Yes.
they've been working on this for decades. And in that work, they took, using our taxpayer money, they took control of the system. Pushing, when the Department of Education was established in 1979, you can go back and see it's written specifically that the parents have the primary responsibility for the education of their children, while the state, localities, and private institutions have the primary responsibility for supporting the parents. This is it couldn't be further from the truth, what's happening on the ground in reality. And I want to make sure that people understand this is not a problem of public school. This is a problem of all schools in the country, parochial, any other private school. This is worse than any epidemic that you can imagine, because it's really going as a poison to the mind and the hearts. It's not only poison in your body, it's mind and hearts. That's what they're doing. It's a total destruction of you as a human being. And so now we are just waking up after they've been working all those years, taking over all our school boards. The great majority of school boards in the country are run by people on the left, controlled by teachers' unions. Teachers union in most of the school district, teachers unions are running the election and running their candidates. They are not reflecting, those school boards are not reflecting the worldviews and the beliefs and the values of the people who live in those areas. So they took over. Parents are pushed out of the school. You know what's the role of parents in school, in those PTAs? PTAs are totally in the camp of the unions and the teachers. In the PTAs, what do? They sell Christmas wrapping papers so they can raise money for the school.
They plan a visit to the zoo.
And where does money go? Does this money goes to our children? No, it doesn't. And I want to just give you a figure so people will understand how things have changed and how they took our taxpayers' money to use it against us. In 1950, there was a study covering what's happening in the public school between 1950 and 2015, spanning 65 years. In that time period, between 1950 and 2015, there was a growth of 100% in the number of students in public schools. At the same period, the growth with teachers was 243%. But the real growth was in the administration and some supporting staff in the administration. This staff has grown by 709%.
Wow.
So the money that we spend when we pay taxes, the property taxes, school and everything, most of it goes to all those people with the top salaries are controlling the school system. It doesn't get down to our kids. It doesn't. That's why at the beginning of every year, the parents get a list, bring toilet paper, bring Ziploc bag, bring, sanitizing, material, whatever. Why? Because the big money goes to those administrators that are controlling the schools and destroying our kids.
Wow.
Our kids are captive audience in those indoctrination camps.
So it's easy. I know that for myself, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, like they've got the control. But I think that you've made very big changes in the nations. And what can the average parent do? Like, how can we combat this?
I'm glad you're talking about this because I think one of the things that is not discussed enough. There's a lot of stage, and every time you go online or turn the radio or whatever TV, you hear another case and another case, and everybody get terrified. I think it's very important to start highlight the people on the ground that are trying to fight it. And
Yes.
I think now we became a quite well organized and well known around the country for fighting this. I call ourselves boots on the ground, and I'm very happy we're scrolling down our Facebook because we do highlight the stories as well as we highlight people that fight it. For example, the last post that we put on our Facebook was from Governor in Florida, DeSantis, who decided
yes.
not to do anything with the curriculum that includes CRT on any indoctrination.
Yeah.
So we are celebrating, we are supporting it. But
Actually,
as
I
I
think
said,
we have that
we're the
clip
boots
ready
on
to
the
show
ground.
today. Yeah.
I beg your pardon?
Let's have a look at that clip of DeSantis. This is really
Be
inspiring.
clear, there's no room in our classrooms for things like critical race theory. Teaching kids to hate their country and to hate each other is not worth 1 red cent of taxpayer money.
Yeah. And so one question I have is I look at what DeSantis is doing in Florida. How can we affect more change locally, whether it's from the local school boards or even up to the governors to take these actions? Because
Exactly.
I think this is showing what the foundation of America is. It's the state's ability to make these decisions beyond the federal overreach.
The state means the people in the state.
Yes.
Us. We are the people. That's why I strongly believe we're going to fight it and we are going to win. Because one of our major role is to educate people, to expose them to what's happening on the local level. So we now have chapters in 20 states.
Wow.
And growing. Between yesterday and today, I scheduled another 4 meetings with 4 different states. And I have many more knocking on the door to start chapters in their states. Because as I said, we are the boots on the ground. We are first and foremost educating parents about what's happening. Second, we're empowering them not to be afraid. A lot of people are afraid, but our strength is in number. And the more we stand up and find the people like-minded and organizations that are like-minded, and I am reaching to organizations that are like-minded so we can bring all our people together to put all our resources, all our minds, all our effort to concentrate and fight this. So we are going to empower them and we're going to mobilize them. We're developing tools, we're developing information that we are sharing among our chapters and, expanding our reach to more and more places so they can know what to do. I just talked this morning, before this meeting, I talked to our chapter head in Georgia, an amazing person. And she talked to me about going to the legislators. And she said, I was so nervous. I never faced them. I didn't know what to say. But that's exactly what we are doing. We collaborated with an organization that provides training to our people to how to work with legislators, how to promote policies. We also work with lawyers. We have a very famous case now around the country, the case of Gabrielle Clark versus the charter school of her son in Nevada. So this is, for example, the lawyer that is representing her approached me after my appearance on Tucker back in September and told us that he would like to, he likes what we are doing and would like to help. A few days later, he's from New York. I'm getting a mother in Nevada. That's Miss Gabrielle Clark. And she saw me on Tucker as well. And she contacted me and wanted to get involved. And she told me at that time, I turn out to so many people within the school system as well as in the media. And basically, she was ignored, except one person that did a short, video about her, a podcast. She came to me and we started working together. Shortly after, I introduced her to the lawyer. And then we started building the case. And now it's in court. It's the first case, legal case, fighting CRT. And I won't be surprised if this is going to be a landmark case in the country. And that's what we do. We have a lot of lawyers who are working with us. We're still recruiting lawyers around the country. So we'll have lawyers in every state. I'm now matching up our chapter head in Maine with a lawyer. I just did it this morning because they have a problem. They're fighting him. They do not want to reveal the information that they are teaching their kids. They do not reveal the information or the organization they are hiring to train the teachers and then disseminate the information to the kids. Although by law they have to. Each state have a law. They call it different names, but it's basically under the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA. So in Pennsylvania, for example, where I'm from, it's the right to know. So you can go to your state website and find out and file, and you have all the instruction. You have to read it carefully. You can contact me and I can guide you what questions to ask when you ask for the information, when you ask the school to reveal. What do they have in the sex education? What exactly the book about transgender they're teaching them, or about gender fluidity? What they're teaching them about racism? You have the right to know everything, but school boards and schools are fighting. They do not want to be transparent. So people are turning to us and we guide them. We help them. You need legal help. We are going to work also. We're working in order promoting, educating people how to be involved in their state with legislators, as well as how to advance their policy, as well as the civic action. How to confront the school board, how to file information, etc.
What can parents do? What's an easy step? I think one is obviously knowing how to contact you, which is important, but what's one step that every parent can take right now to start affecting change?
What they have to do? They look at the children when they put them to sleep. They look at the faces of their angels in bed and promise them that they will do everything to protect them. They always say, parents always say, I'm going to take a bullet for my child. And I have no doubt, if there's somebody standing with a gun, aiming at the child, the parents will jump and protect the kids. No doubt in my mind. This is the bullet. This is the bullet. I even tell parents many times, we know from statistics that 40% of the people that go through transgenderism commit suicide. Now, if somebody comes to you and they tell you, give that piece of food or whatever to your child, and they have 40% of dying, will you do that? Will you give that medicine or food or whatever to your child, knowing that there's 40% of chance that they die? Would you do that? You wouldn't. Look what we did with COVID, when the chance of your kid for getting infected or dying was close to 0%. Parents were hysterical. Parents, many of them are still hysterical. But here, and that's what I don't get, why people are afraid. From what? When are you going to stand up for your kids? You promised to protect them. You brought them to this world to protect them, to nourish them, to raise them with good health. This is going to be taken away from you. Your role as a parent is being taken away from you, because they say take a village to raise a child, but not in the true sense of the pervert. They take a village, meaning we are going to take your kids and we are going to raise it. You just give birth to that human being and we're going to make out of him whatever we want. And this is insane.
The communist dream.
Absolutely.
So where did you find the courage and how did you get started with this? Because you're just a mother seeing this happening like a lot of people in America. So how did you find the courage, especially amidst this cancel culture where you can tweet the wrong thing and you've got people calling up your bosses and legions of people that are attacking? So how did you find that courage for yourself?
Well, after this happened to me at the school, when I saw the material and I opted my kids out of school, I did write I was very happy stay-at-home mom. 3 boys, very happy, raising them, etc. But I wrote a letter to the superintendent, the school board members, as well as the principal, and they totally ignored me. And by the way, now it's very common. I'm hearing it from thousands and thousands of parents from across the country. They ignore you. They really don't care what you think. So I posted on the parents' Facebook page, the school parents' Facebook page, and exactly what you described happening to a lot of people happened to me. They called me racist and bigots and all the lovely names that they call people that they disagree with. And all I did was put the letter I sent to the superintendent and ask for a discussion. What do you think about this? What's your opinion? Do you agree with it? And that's what I got. I was butchered. I was lynched. But you know what? I really did not give it a second thought. I knew that they were wrong. I'll look at myself in the mirror and I know I'm not racist, and I do not raise my kids to be racist.
You're a hero for doing that. Congratulations for doing that.
So we got an article in the Washington Free Beacon before I started the movement. But then I was getting a lot of messages of support. They, of course,
the
took down
quiet
my
messages,
post.
right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
they took down my post right away. But a lot of parents, grandparents, concerned citizens sending me private messages saying, we agree with you. We support you. You're 100% right. Good for you. But we're afraid.
Yeah. What
That's when the moment,
percentage?
yeah.
What percentage of Americans? I mean, if you turn on the news, depending on what you're watching, but it feels like the overwhelming support is for this more radical agenda. But what do you think is the truth about the amount of the Americans that support traditional education and support these things that you're fighting for?
Well, I can tell you from the experience, even, when I decided to launch a movement and I got all this support in private, I told them that I know that it cannot be, it doesn't make sense that most Americans support this. It was very obvious to me. Without election, without nothing, it's so insane. It's so radical. It's so unbelievable. People did not believe it. That's why when you ask for curriculum, it's not good enough, because in the curriculum, it's painted in beautiful color, like diversity and inclusion. Who doesn't agree? Who doesn't want to fight racism? So anti-racism.
It's the Trojan horse.
The devil is in the curriculum material. And what the teacher does when they close the door and they are with the kids and nobody sees what's happening there. So that's where the devil is, in those curriculum materials, and what the teacher does behind closed doors, because they are the captive audience. Those are little kids. All of them want the teacher to like them. So then after this election, I looked at the data again as a researcher. I learned, and it was on all the media, not only quote unquote conservative media, in all the media, that Donald Trump won 84% of the counties in the United States. And based on the kind of messages I've been getting, which was from a lot of Democrats that identify themselves as Democrat, but they totally disagree with that. So I said to myself, I know now, at least in 84% of the counties in the United States, the worldviews of the board and what they are doing in the school boards and the school is in contradiction to the worldviews and values of the people who live in those places. So for me, it was very obvious, and I'm hearing it even now. I mean, people are flocking to my group because they understand that we are boots on the ground. We are not about telling another story about how awful it is and how terrible those people are. We are about getting you, helping you come together,
just doing,
and giving you the tools to fight it. That is what's critical. You cannot just say, hide at home. It's not going to go away if you don't speak up. It's not going to go away if you hide. We are not going to be a tiny ghetto in the country. It's not. They're going to look what they did. They have no problem with violence. They knocked down stores. They robbed places. They'll knock down even the wall that you'll build around your ghetto. So you cannot really afford this. Is your D-Day, and I sent you maybe a clip of my video that I call it this is our D-Day. If you are not standing up now for your kids, when will you? It's in your home. It's not even at your doorstep. It's in your home.
So we're approaching the end of the show, but I want to take a few questions from the audience, and thank everyone for asking all the questions, being so engaged. I've got a really good question here from Linda Widener, who says, other than homeschooling or private religious schools is the only solution to get conservatives on the local school boards. How do we stand up against teacher unions that push these divisive ideologies?
Again, but as I said, indeed, maybe the only homeschooling is protected from that, because charter school, private school, parochial school, all of them are infected. And in fact, you'd be surprised maybe to realize that many of them are even worse than some of the public schools. The Catholic, the Jesuit school, for example, or Episcopalian school, they started way ahead. And there are many cases much worse than the public schools. The teachers' unions are powerful. There's no denial. But do you know what? We're talking about 4.5 million people. 4.5 million people that have funding. So what you have to do is, again, our strength is in our number. Get up, get involved in the school boards, put your name as a candidate for school board. We provide training, for people who want to know how to work with school board. Get involved with legislators. And I'll tell you what, we can take the school board, as I said before. Donald Trump won 84% of the counties in the United States. I can tell you, we can take over at least 84%, the school board in 84% of the counties in this country. I don't think it would be a bad start. That won't be a bad start. And this way, definitely, if the school board doesn't have this strong hold, if the teachers union don't have such a strong hold of the school boards, and the parents are actually in control, this is not going to happen in the schools.
So, quick question about that. So does it work in a way that you have the teachers union that then gains control? They put their people in the school board. So it's the school board that makes those final decisions. So if parents go or grandparents are looking at the school board level, that's where to focus to gain control of their local school.
Absolutely. To gain there are school board meetings and nobody show up from our side.
Yeah.
So they have an open check to do whatever they want, and that's what has been happening all those years. Think about yourself, because I'll tell you what about me. I never paid attention to school board candidate. I could care less. I didn't know. I had no idea how school board actually are the body that makes the decision about our life. I had no idea. So only when all this happened, I was in a very fast learning curve, trying to really educate myself how the system works, what are the soft spot, where can we really make the change, where we should put our effort in order to make this change. So definitely state level, as you said, parents, your local school board, that's when you have to get involved. And again, please turn to us, No Left Turn in Education. Go to nolefturn.us, our website. There is a link there to completing a survey that will be able to match you with the group in your area.
Oh, good.
So
that was one of my questions.
That survey give us the details about your location. So all the people from your area that are writing, we pull them all together, and that's how we open chapters and start working together. So this is really the best way is on the local level, the state level. We'll get, there are other things that we can do on the national level, but it's really on the very, very local level.
It's the boots on the ground. Yeah, grassroots.
Absolutely. That's why I call ourselves Boots on the Ground. Yeah. Maybe that's what I should change the name of my movement. Boots on the ground. Yeah.
Boots on the ground. Well, do you have time for a few more questions? We've got a lot of people that are asking. And one thing is that if we can, I think that if you mentioned you're in a little over 20 states, if we can get to 50 states, this is an incredible movement. So here I've got Robert Nielsen, who's asking about Bill Ayers, who I've also looked into in the past, who's a former member of the Weather Underground and a professor of childhood education. And Robert's asking, what influence has he had with education nationwide?
No doubt. That's why part of, a lot of the teachers, and we have also a teacher committee that is helping a lot with a lot of the teachers that are older teachers, the experienced teachers, retired teachers are also contacting us. They're blown away. They don't know, they cannot recognize the education system because there are people like Bill Ayers in those schools, in those universities, indoctrinating our college kids. And I'm getting messages from parents. The kids graduated college and they say, I don't know my kids anymore. That's not the way I raised them. And there are a lot of broken families because of that. The kids come back from college, and those are the teachers of our kids now. All the young teachers that have been, not the one that went to Hillsdale College, for example, but the one who went to, like my University of Pennsylvania, where I got my doctorate, or Rutgers University, where I got my master's, or other universities around the country. What they are doing to students. So those students coming already brainwashed with this ideology, and that's how it trickles down. Another point that is very important when you said what people can do to help.
Yes.
Unlike BLM, teacher unions, we don't have a Soros. We don't have George Soros.
Yes.
Believe it or not, all the work I've done since the end of August when I launched the movement, that's mean we are like 6.5 months old about, all volunteers.
Wow.
We applied for 501c3 and we'll get it eventually. But, we don't know with all the COVID and things going maybe even slower today. And who knows, because maybe they will think that we are not exactly with the mission of the Biden administration or whatever. But we really rely on donations from people to be able to continue the work, because we don't have, as I said, no George Soros, and we don't have the funding. We don't have the taxpayers' money. They took it and they do what they're doing now with it.
Exactly. Open
so
society.
I wish I had the taxpayers' money to do this. I don't.
Well, if people do want to donate, is that something they do through your website?
Yes, there is a donate button and they can go and donate there. All the money is going to be used to, as I said, to support our work. I work around the clock. I literally work to the wee hours of the morning. I barely sleep because I feel this is my mission. I mean, I'm scared to lose my kids. I'm scared to lose the country. And I think this is really the time. And yes, you're showing our donate button. You can, see what it says there. But we need the support.
Right. Here's a question I want to ask. This is Christian Miller, who's saying, would removing the Department of Education have an effect on the school's problems?
Well, yes and no. I don't know, because again, state do what they do. And if we don't get rid of it at the state level, at the local level, it's there.
Yeah.
So even if you remove the
department, so it's really up to us then, isn't it?
Level. Yes, most of it coming at the state level.
You hear that, everyone? It's up to us.
Absolutely. So there are several courageous, legislators at the state level, like in New Hampshire. Now they have a House Bill 544 that was put forth to fight to remove any CRT, similar to what the governor of Florida talked about. Yes. And there are in other places, legislators trying to promote it. We need to support them. We, again, on our new website, hopefully within 2 weeks, we'll have our new website. You get a lot of information and update on what's happening in every state, so you can, and how to, collaborate. But there are a lot of things that are happening on the ground. And unless you get up and do it also yourself, join, it's not going to happen. And you have to talk to your circle of friends, to your circle of family, and send them the same message. Send them to our website, join the movement, donate even $5, whatever you can. It adds up. If you can,
so you hear that, everybody? Everyone who's watching, after this video,
whatever you can,
go to noleftturn.us, sign up, get on the email list, make a small donation if you can. This is really our future. I like how you say this is D-Day. This is the bullet and it's not just coming for our children, because our children are the future of our nation. And if we don't protect them now, then imagine if they're already 50% are pro-socialism, where's it going to be in 10 years or 20 years?
That's right, because they're starting now early, because they're starting at K to 12. So you don't have to wait until they're in. That's why I'm saying, goes on my tape, you don't have to wait until they're in college, because they're starting, so young. So that is, and I see that are there legal ramification against this? We have also a lawyers committee, a legal committee that is handling that. But as I said, our case with Miss Clark against the school, a very good chance that it might go all the way to the Supreme Court. That's going to be, if it does, it's going to be a landmark case. Absolutely fighting it legally. So that's why I said we are going in working in 3 areas: the legal area, the legislative area, and the civic. And we are focusing on 3 groups: the children, the parents, and the teachers, because a lot of teachers don't go along with that. And we provide them support as well.
Which really leads into Cynthia's question there about, Cynthia Albertson, thank you. Great question. Do school boards choose their textbooks? Teachers are being indoctrinated as well. In some districts, they're required to attend workshops, et cetera, to promote these radical agendas.
That's right. And by the way, the budget for this is enormous. It's literally became a cow cache for a lot of those radical groups. Ibram X. Kendi became a multimillionaire, as well as Robin DiAngelo with the white privilege. So and there are a lot of groups popping up like mushrooms after the rain, all around. A lot of them with no credentials, no
Yeah.
credentials at all to work with kids or to expertise in any area, because it is indeed a cash cow. Yes, school board many times does choose material, or sometimes they're also leverage for for teachers to do so. They can recommend. Many schools have a curriculum committee where they look at the selections of material, and indeed the training of these people, which costs a fortune. A fortune. If you're
Yeah.
reading articles, and I know I'm getting a lot of those messages. In I think it was Loudoun County, it's $500,000 for they hired Ibram X Kendi for 1 hour for $20,000, but they still will ask you to provide the tissue paper and Ziploc bag to the school.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the other also scary thing with this, you have to understand that because of all this worldview, they are dumbing down our student. Maybe there's some people in this are involved in Common Core, which already started during Obama administration. That was the Obama's program in education in Common Core that really was dumbing down our students. This is even worse. And the continuation of the process of A, pushing parents out of the education of the children, and B, dumbing down. Because, for example, speaking proper English is considered a white supremacy characteristics.
Gosh.
Showing your work in math is so to show the teacher that actually you understand.
Math is racist now somehow.
Exactly. Using rationale is a white supremacist. So what are they doing actually to our kids? What are they going to come out of the school doing? What? One of the things that we're trying to understand also, how much time and resources is spent on all this indoctrination in kids. Time from teachers, time of the kids in class. What are they doing? How much time is taken away from teaching them the real skill that they need in order to succeed in life?
Yeah.
So you have a lot of resources devoted to this indoctrination. So do you know, already we know that the United States has been dropping in terms of its ranking in compared to other countries in terms of achievement in math, science, and language. And now it's going to be even worse because, we need proper English it's a white supremacist, and we're not teaching white supremacists, so let's lower it down. Gosh. It goes all the way now to the universities in terms of, to high schools and schools where you could have, get into a certain school based on merits, high achieving school based on merits. Now they are labeling Asians as privileged.
Exactly.
So the color of the skin now, it doesn't matter, but they're privileged just because they're high achievers, and many of them are able to enter and attend schools that are considered top schools.
Yeah.
And we see that many countries, not only in colleges, we are talking colleges, definitely, they have quotas for Asians. Like they had quotas for Jews. I happen to be Jewish, and I know they had many years, and I'm probably now, and we don't know it. But definitely they're starting now in regular schools in K-12 to have quotas for Asians just because they achieve. So there's no merit anymore because meritology is another white
is racist. My goodness. Gosh. Well, I think this is a good time to wrap up. I just want to say one thing, Elana, is that you give me hope for the future of America. Like when I meet people like you, as much as it gets depressing sometimes, and you see what's happening, but when I meet people like you, I hear your story and I see how, you're not some billionaire, with unlimited money to do things. You're someone that just cares about our future, and we can all be you. We can all do this in our own way. I hope that everyone watching has already gone, and I see some people even saying they've already donated in the chat. So I hope everyone can visit noleftturn.us. Elana, thank you so very much for blessing us with your wisdom and your foresight, and for all that you've done for our country. You are an American hero, and we're blessed to have you.
I'm humbled. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Great. All right. Thank you. All right, everyone. So I will see everybody next Tuesday for our next live show, which I'll be announcing a topic soon. let me know. Also in the comments or across social media, let us know if this is a good time for you. We're doing the noon live shows, but if there's a different time that works a lot better for you, I know some people catch it up and watch it afterwards, but I want to make sure that this is the best for everybody. So you can email or leave a comment here on YouTube. And thanks again for everyone who's come and joined us. And remember to go visit No Left Turn, support Elana. This is great. This is, this is what brings me a big smile to see this happening. All right, everyone. So thank you, Patriots. God bless America.